The top stories tonight in Y News. The Interagency Task Force Against COVID-19 allows the entry of foreign nationals with long-term visas starting August 1, 2020.
A group of Filipino nurses plans to hold a series of protests until President Duterte's State of the Nation address later this month. They say that their grievances have not been addressed until today.
MRT3 deploys marshals on trains and at stations.
World population likely to shrink after mid-century due to sustained declines in fertility, researchers say.
Victoria, Australia records its highest daily new cases of coronavirus infections, while New South Wales will ban dancing, singing, and mingling at large-scale gatherings.
Artist donates 1,800 flower paintings to New York hospital frontliners, but no paintbrush was used for those artistic masterpieces.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Friday, July 17, 2020. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the globe. I am Jorlene Delgado.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I'm Angelo Castro III.
First in the news, no new entry of foreign nationals with long-term visa will be allowed in the Philippines beginning next month. Our Malacanang correspondent, Rosa Licos, tells us why.
Starting August 1, 2020, foreign nationals with long-term visas or immigrant visas shall be allowed entry in the country. There are conditions, though, set through Interagency Task Force Resolution Number 56. For instance, they must first possess a valid and existing visa at the time of entry. This means no new entry visa shall be accepted. They are also subject to the maximum capacity of inbound passengers at the port and date of entry because returning overseas Filipinos are the priority. Foreign nationals must also secure a pre-booked accredited quarantine facility and COVID-19 testing provider. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque ensures allowing the entry of foreign nationals with long-term visas is not a threat on public health.
Well, dadaan po sila sa proseso, no? Kinakailangan magpa-PCR test sila pagdating nila at habang nag-aantay ng resulta, sila po ay mag-i-stay sa quarantine, no? At ito naman po hindi mga ordinaryo mga dayuhan lamang, ito yung mga dayuhan na kinukonsidera na nila na ang kanilang tahanan ay nandito sa Pilipinas dahil sila ay mga permanent resident.
However, the IATF prohibits spectators in outdoor non-contact sports and exercises in general community quarantine and modified general community quarantine areas. This has also been approved by the IATF on Thursday. Some of the outdoor and indoor non-contact sports and exercises allowed in both GCQ and MGCQ areas are walking, jogging, running, biking, golf, swimming, tennis, badminton, equestrian, skateboarding, and other. Following minimum public health standards must be ensured at all times. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The country's health department assures there will be enough personal protective equipment for healthcare workers fighting the coronavirus pandemic, while a group of nurses plans to hold a series of protests until President Rodrigo Duterte's fifth State of the Nation address later this month. Our health correspondent, Aiko Miguel, explains why.
A group of nurses working at San Lazaro Hospital in Manila City held a silent protest yesterday. Their cry, they have been unfairly treated by the hospital administration.
Yung fatigue, tapos yung understaffing, tapos yung hindi adequate protection nila, tapos yung unhealthy na environmental workplace yung kanilang exposure to COVID infection.
They even display their shoes in front of the hospital to express their sentiments and protest. The health department, for its part, talked with the hospital administration to resolve and settle the issue.
Kinausap na sila ni Secretary Duque at araw-araw naman ay tinatawagan natin sila para i-check nga natin kung talagang kung ano yung progress itong pag-uusap din nila with their group of nurses.
According to Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, healthcare workers should be provided with appropriate hazard pay and quarantine leave pay.
Unang-una, ang PPE sa San Lazaro, they have enough supply, they have adequate supply at hindi naman ito pinagdadamot ng administration para sa kanilang mga empleyado. Hindi yan tinatanggal dun sa leave credits nila at ito talaga ay klinaro sa amin ng kanilang hospital.
The group of nurses plans to stage a series of protests until President Duterte's fifth State of the Nation address.
We hope and we are working that will snowball until the SONA of the President on July 27 para ipakita na sa 4 na taon na nandito kami sa ilalim ng kasalukuyang gobyerno, lahat ng mga hinaing ng mga nurses ay hindi sapat na natugunan.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Daanbantayan Cebu Mayor Sun Shibura is back to work in his office after recovering from COVID-19. Mayor Shibura said that he experienced fever and cough prior to his swab tests and yielded positive for the disease on June 21. Daanbantayan Municipal Hall has undergone disinfection. Its operation was suspended right after the news that the mayor was infected with the virus. After 24 days, Mayor Shibura is now back in his office and meets with the IATF to lay out the guidelines that will be set in place in his town after Cebu undergoes general community quarantine. As of July 13, there are a total of 17 cases in Daanbantayan, 2 active, 14 recoveries, and 1 death case. Mayor Shibura reminds everyone to follow standard health protocols, including the use of face masks and observing physical distancing to avoid getting infected with SARS-CoV-2.
The Philippine Army 30th Infantry Battalion is now COVID-19 free after 4 soldiers in Surigao del Norte recovered from the disease. The recoveries had been deployed to a border checkpoint where they had exposure to a returning locally stranded individual who yielded positive in the rapid test for coronavirus. The 4 immediately were isolated to prevent other soldiers from catching the virus. The 4 COVID-19 survivors have returned to their designated unit after being discharged from the quarantine facility.
COVID-free po ang ating mga kasundulahan dito sa 30IT at handa na po muling magserbisyo, handa na po muling tumulong sa ating mga mamamayan.
Interior Secretary Eduardo Año highlights the importance of transferring a COVID-19 patient from their home to a Ligtas Center. Leia Ilagan will tell us why.
Department of the Interior and Local Government o DILG Secretary Eduardo Año emphasizes that coronavirus patients can be monitored and treated better by healthcare providers in Ligtas centers. He describes his order to local governments to transfer COVID-19 patients from their homes to government quarantine facilities as urgent and necessary. He says the move aims to ensure that COVID-19 patients will be attended to and that they would not be spreaders of the virus to their family and the community. Secretary Año also calls reports that the police and the military will conduct house-to-house search for people infected with COVID-19 as fake news. He points out those reports were made by individuals who want to stir confusion amid the government's response on COVID-19. The Interior Secretary adds that home quarantine is one of the causes of the spike in cases of COVID-19 because persons infected with the virus are not isolated or separated from their healthy family members. Secretary Año also emphasizes it is the government's duty to care for the citizens' health, which is why everyone in the community is enjoined to cooperate with authorities for the country to win its battle against the invisible enemy. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The town of Jose Panganiban in Camarines Norte, Bicol region is recognized for its response to COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, it remains to be COVID-19 free since the coronavirus pandemic began. Brian Baldaraje tells us why.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, recognizes the efforts of local governments to respond to the coronavirus pandemic. Jose Panganiban Town in Camarines Norte Province is one of those LGUs. Jose Panganiban is now recognized to have one of Bicol LGU's best practices against COVID-19. Under the category governance, its immediate creation of a task force against COVID-19 and marking the fingers of persons under monitoring or PUM are considered as exemplary measures. The national government also recognizes Jose Panganiban's move to designate a quarantine island for returning locally stranded individuals and overseas Filipinos. And under the health category, the town's project Healthy Mind has also been recognized. This online psychosocial intervention aims to help and guide people with their mental health in the middle of the pandemic and community quarantine. Jose Panganiban online singing contest called the Mambolao Lockdown Challenge was also commended. The contest aimed to encourage its citizens to showcase their talents and be productive even when staying at home. Mayor Ariel Non thanks the citizens and other officials for their collaborative efforts which led to such recognition.
Po ay nagpapasalamat sa aking mga kababayan sa ipinakitang kooperasyon, pakikiisa, disiplina, at ako po ay naniniwala na yung mga bagay na yun bilang component ng pagharap natin sa problemang ito sapat para malabanan natin ang virus at matiyak na hindi tayo papasokin dito sa ating bayan.
This week, the Jose Panganiban local government also issued the no swab, no rapid test, no entry policy among LSIs and ROFs through an executive order. This is to ensure the safety of residents from the deadly disease. Jose Panganiban remains COVID-19 free until today. Brian Baldaraje, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
As the government continues to find ways to fight the effects of COVID-19, there are cities with programs that have accomplished positive results. According to Health Secretary Francisco Duque III, among these practices is the aggressive tracing, testing, and treatment or T3 response of the Taguig City government. According to National Task Force Chair Carlito Galvez Jr., the Taguig LGU was able to balance the needs for its economy and health in implementing a 2-week targeted lockdown in Bonifacio Global City. Galvez pointed out Taguig City was able to prevent the loss of around 16.7 billion pesos due to its action. Also among the best practices is the contact tracing capability of Baguio City. According to Galvez, these are just some of the best ways to fight the pandemic, which other provinces and cities may emulate and adopt.
Let's now take a closer look at the updated count of coronavirus cases around the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has now reached a total of more than 13.8 million confirmed cases in 188 countries, regions, and sovereignties. That's after 226,000 positive cases were reported across the globe since yesterday. According to the World Health Organization, more than 7 million of the world's total COVID-19 cases are from the Americas, while Europe has reported close to 3 million confirmed infections, while the Western Pacific has the lowest number, now at almost 250,000 cases. The fast-spreading disease has claimed more than 590,000 lives, while over 7.7 million patients across the globe have recovered from the new coronavirus infection. Thanks be to God.
Meanwhile, the country's Department of Health says that 1,841 new cases were reported today out of total tests done by 76 of the 84 laboratories across the country. That raises the total confirmed cases of coronavirus infection in the Philippines to 63,001. we have lost 17 more patients, bringing the death toll to 1,660. Now there are 39,593 active cases remaining. Of those active cases, 19.3% are mild. Of the newly announced COVID-19 cases, 441 are from Manila City, 140 from Quezon City, 96 from Mandaluyong, 87 from Cebu City, and Devotas reported 86. But through our fervent prayers, medical interventions, and sacrifices of our medical frontliners, 311 more people have won their battle against the invisible enemy. That brings the total recoveries nationwide to 21,748. Thanks be to God.
MRT-3 begins to deploy what it calls train and station marshals, whose job is to ensure that social distancing measures and safety protocols are well observed on trains at MRT stations. On trains, passengers must keep a 1-meter distance apart from one another to prevent virus transmission. There are 3 train marshals for every train set, 1 on each coach. They shall wear full personal protective equipment or PPEs to protect themselves and the passengers. MRT-3 also strictly prohibits speaking and answering phone calls on the train to avoid the spread of any respiratory droplets when speaking, coughing, or sneezing.
The Land Transportation Office will start requiring a driving course certificate in securing a student driver's permit. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
Based on the Land Transportation Office or LTO public advisory last June 30, a theoretical driving course certificate is needed for a student permit application starting August 3. An applicant may acquire the certificate from an accredited driving school or LTO designated facilities all over the country. In 3 sessions, a 15-hour lecture will be conducted, which includes Introduction to Traffic Law, Land Transportation-related Special Law, and General Driving. The advisory also states that to secure a new driver's license, a practical driving course certificate is required and an additional code restriction. The certificates will be transmitted to the LTO electronically. New rules are in accordance with Republic Act 10930 that aims to implement stricter guidelines in securing a driver's license by providing proper education to motorists. This is expected to avoid road accidents and violations of traffic law. Atoy Santa Cruz, president of the Motorcycle Federation of the Philippines, wants to establish training facilities to cater to applicants who cannot afford to pay driving school fees.
Oo, kasi pag pumunta ka sa driving school, ang minimum sa ibang driving school, 4,500. Yan ang kanila ma-charge sa'yo pagka nag-training ka.
Santa Cruz also noted that by next year, driving courses will also be needed for renewing licenses.
Kasi bago ka makapag-renew ng lisensya, dadaan ka ulit. Talagang, kasi hihigpitan na Ang purpose lang naman yan talaga, ma-filter rin talaga mga alam mo na dumaan sa picture, wala exam, ni alam, wala.
Tricycle driver Elvis is in favor of retaking driving seminars if it's for free.
Oo, kung seminar, walang problema yun kung walang bayad. Pero kung may bayad, sir, mahirap, lalo na sa amin, katulad sa amin, tricycle driver lang. Magkano lang naman kinikita, sapat lang sa pang-araw-araw talagang pangangailangan namin.
UNTV News and Rescue is still waiting for the LTO's response on the matter. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Authorities penalize almost 100 parents and guardians for violation of Manila City's Anti-Child Endangerment Ordinance. Meanwhile, to help children stay at home amid the pandemic, a psychologist advises parents for a few clinical ways. Asher Kadapan Jr. will tell us why.
Since the Manila City government began the strict implementation of City Ordinance number 8243 or the Anti-Child Endangerment Act from July 15 to July 17, 98 parents and guardians have been apprehended and penalized. The ordinance restricts residents below 21 years of age to go out in the streets to protect them from endangerment, especially with the current threat of COVID-19, in accordance with the guidelines of the Interagency Task Force for the Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF-EID. According to Manila City Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Dumagoso, they have warned the public enough.
So tayong mga magulang na gumawa ng mga anak, responsibilidad po natin sila, mano pa kung sila minor de edad. Gusto ko lang sabi ko sa inyo, maasim man ang suka, kailangan kong inumin. I have to bite the bullet. I have to implement the law to keep order in the city of Manila.
While some violate the city ordinance, others are in favor of its strict implementation.
Kahit anong sawayin namin, minsan nakipag-away kami rito. Total, makukulit kayo. Ayan, nag-ano nga si Isko ng magulang na ulihin namin. Total, matitigas ang ulo nyo, di ba?
Clinical psychologist Dr. Camille Garcia said while children need physical activities, parents and guardians should educate their kids about the COVID-19 pandemic and not instill the discipline through fear. She further explains that children should be equipped to understand the need to stay at home while there is a pandemic to protect not only themselves but the whole family. Dr. Garcia added that these are sole responsibilities of the parents and guardians, and child endangerment may be attributed to adults' negligence.
Yung sasabihin natin na pabaya sa kalye at umaabot na sa punto na talagang nandun sa labas at talagang tumatakbo and everything, but pwede natin sabihin na merong kapabayaan dahil kasi kung talagang gumagawa sila ng paraan na hindi maboboard ang isang bata, hindi natin makikita yung mga batang yun na nagkalat sa kalye.
Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Newly installed COVID-19 contact tracing czar Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong explains how they will conduct contact tracing for individuals exposed to a positive patient. Dante Abento tells us why.
The government aims to have 50,000 COVID-19 contact tracers across the country. This is through the newly designated contact tracing czar and Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong. Magalong says they will be using the combined forces of health workers and PNP investigators to conduct contact tracing. Interviews will be done among individuals exposed to a COVID-19 positive patient. Magalong, a former PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group chief, believes police investigators are effective for contact tracing because of their cognitive investigation skills. They will also utilize the PNP's crime mapping system and replace it with COVID-19 case mapping instead.
Pagkatapos nila ma-interview, malaman nila lahat yung mga information, binabato yan sa mga community support teams at sa ibang mga contact tracing personnel din para ma-identify, ma-locate, and then immediately isolate them.
Suspect and probable individuals will be tested through RT-PCR test. They will undergo home quarantine while waiting for the results. If they yield positive, they will be transferred to an isolation facility. Magalong stresses that PNP personnel will not use force during the conduct of contact tracing. They will ask the PNP to help them convince probable or suspect individuals to cooperate with them.
Nung time na nag-positive na siya, kailangan na siyang i-isolate dahil symptomatic. Kukunin siya, i-isolate, baka pwede rin siya mag-resist. So again, we have to seek again the help of the police. Pupuntahan ng police, kakausapin, negotiate, tapos dadalhin sa isolation, but not to treat them like criminals.
Earlier today, Magalong led a seminar and training of some 120 contact tracing trainers from Metro Manila, including National Capital Region Police Office or NCRPO personnel. On Tuesday next week, Magalong will go to Region 3 for another training of contact tracers. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Manila urges its customers to avail of its dislodging services to prevent diseases. Besides, the cleaning of the septic tank is given for free. Joanano tells us why.
One of the most important safety measures against COVID-19 is maintaining the cleanliness of oneself and their surroundings. People should not only focus on COVID-19 alone, as many other diseases can be acquired in dirty places. With this, Manila Water Services urge their customers to dislodge their septic tanks at home in order to avoid contracting other diseases. Maynilad explains that households must clean their septic tanks once every 5 years. It's even free of charge.
Ito po ay para mapanatili nating malinis ang ating kapaligiran at ang katubigan. At maiwasan din po natin ang mga sakit katulad ng cholera, diarrhea, leptospirosis, saka HEPA. At isa po is para maiwasan din po natin na mag-overflow yung mga septic tank po natin kasi nga po puno na po ng sludge.
Since the start of this month, as community quarantine eased in Metro Manila and other areas, Maynilad have resumed their dislodging services. But due to fears of possible COVID-19 transmission, some customers are afraid to let Maynilad personnel inside their homes for the dislodging service. But Maynilad assured they are implementing strict health and safety protocols among their employees so as not to become spreaders of the virus. Maynilad personnel who provide dislodging services are required to wear safety gears such as face mask, face shield, and gloves. They also regularly disinfect their shoes before entering and leaving their customer's house. Even the hose and tanks they use for dislodging are disinfected thoroughly to kill any viruses. Maynilad personnel are also required to be tested negative for COVID-19 before they are allowed to go to work.
Before po ng quarantine, maganda po so mga nasa 6 out of 10 po. So, nung nag-resume po kami ng July, expected na po namin na mababa. Kaya po, as much as possible, gusto po namin maibalik at kung kaya nga po, 100%. Kaya po namin ginawa yung mga new norms, protocol. So, nagdagdag po lahat kami para ma-ensure po natin na lahat po tayo safe. So, tinitiyak po namin na safe po magpalinis ng inyong septic tank.
Doon sa pagpapasok ng mga employee ng Maynilad, wala namang problema, no? So, naka-safety gear naman sila, naka-mask, tsaka maayos yung service na ginawa nila.
Wala namang problema, basta distancing and safety precaution na lang.
Meanwhile, Manila Water has yet to resume its dislodging services for its customers because it still awaits clearance from various local government units. The waste materials collected during the dislodging process will be taken to a treatment plant to convert the solid waste into fertilizer. Water will be treated to make sure it's clean before it is returned to the bodies of water. Joanaro, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The country's Chief Justice Diosdado Peralta suspends work in the Supreme Court from July 20 to 22, 2020. According to the Supreme Court, the different buildings and offices will undergo disinfection, but signing of the roll of attorneys for Bar 2019 passers will continue as scheduled. This is based on its memo circular number 07-2020 to those who cannot travel to Manila because of the circumstances due to corona.
Various groups and organizations will hold a protest in Quezon City on the day of the President's Fifth State of the Nation Address, or SONA, on July 27. This will be called SONA Kaisa, which the issue on COVID-19 as its theme. Addressing concerns on quarantine restrictions, Bayan Secretary General Renato Reyes assures they will follow health protocols, citing their compliance during their June 12 Grand Mañanita protest in UP Diliman. Meanwhile, different lawyer groups also say they will be in full force to guide and protect their protesters from possible unconstitutional arrest.
Anumang klase ng sama-samang pagkilos will observe physical distancing. All participants will wear face masks. Magbibigay din po tayo ng mga disinfectants. May mga lugar sa Quezon City na hindi kailangan ng permit. So, tignan natin kung paano natin gagawin. Basta, I think the lawyers will agree, hindi naman po nawala yung constitutional rights natin dahil lang sa pandemya.
And for our weather update, the Intertropical Convergence Zone, or ITCZ, is affecting southern Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. State Weather Bureau Pagasa says this may bring cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms over Mimaropa, Visayas, Caraga, and northern Mindanao. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and the rest of the country may experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers due to localized thunderstorms. Possible flash floods or landslides may occur during severe thunderstorms. No tropical cyclone advisory is issued. A lawmaker tells the Lopezes to sell ABSCBN for the sake of the thousands of employees it has. The lawmaker also urges the government to temporarily use the frequency previously assigned to ABS-CBN for distance learning. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
House Deputy Speaker and Camarines Sur 2nd District Representative Ellery Villafuerte believes that ABS-CBN may find it hard to secure a franchise even after the term of President Duterte. In an interview, the House Deputy Speaker said that although there are people who voiced that they will remember the 70 lawmakers who voted to deny the franchise application of the giant media network, once these 70 run in the 2022 elections and win, and ABS-CBN applies for a franchise, Villafuerte says the same scenario might unfold. That is why Villafuerte told the Lopezes to just sell ABS-CBN for the sake of its employees, numbering to around 11,000. The Deputy Speaker says that the Lopez earns billions and have other companies like Rockwell and First Gen. Should the Lopez sell the media network, Villafuerte says he will support its renewal under the new management. But Villafuerte says it is just a suggestion and is still up to the Lopezes to decide. Meanwhile, in a resolution, Representative Ellery Villafuerte also urged the government to temporarily use the frequency assigned to ABS-CBN to be used for distance learning. According to Villafuerte, the television and radio frequency may help mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the Philippine education system. He says it may also be used to provide information on COVID-19 prevention and control, risk reduction, and preparedness. But former DICT Secretary Rodolfo Salalima believes that it may be too costly for the government. Salalima also adds that the frequency of ABS-CBN cannot be reassigned freely. According to the Public Telecommunications Policy Act, the frequency may only be given to the best qualified entity. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, here's Mariel Latoza live from Perth, Australia. Mariel, what have you got for us tonight?
Diego, today Australia's Victoria state recorded its highest daily increase of coronavirus cases. And I will also tell you why neighboring New South Wales will ban dancing, singing and mingling at large-scale gatherings. Also, British Airways says that it will retire all of its Boeing 747s. And in Thailand, foreigners will have a grace period until September to apply for visa extensions.
Okay, go ahead, Mariel, tell us why.
Here in Australia, Victoria records its highest daily new cases of coronavirus infections. Out of 428 new cases in Victoria, 370 are under investigation. 57 connected to known outbreaks and 1 from hotel quarantine. The state also recorded 3 additional deaths. Regional residents have been asked to wear face masks when in public, and Morrison has advised the possibility of Victorian patients being moved to other states should hospitals become overloaded. On the other hand, New South Wales State said today it will ban dancing, singing, and mingling at large-scale gatherings as neighboring Victoria reported a record daily increase in COVID-19 cases. The surge in COVID-19 cases in Victoria has stirred concerns of a national second wave, prompting internal border closures and renewed social distancing restrictions in neighboring states. New South Wales, Australia's most populous state, said it has found 8 cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, mostly from community transmissions believed to have emanated from Victoria. In a bid to curtail the spread, New South Wales State Premier Gladys Berejiklian said new restrictions will be imposed from next week on indoor venues, weddings, and funerals. Also in Australia, researchers have devised a test that can determine novel coronavirus infection in about 20 minutes using blood samples. The researchers at Monash University said that this test can determine if someone is currently infected and if they have been infected in the past. Their test, using the 25 microliters of plasma from blood samples, looks for agglutination or clustering of red blood cells that the coronavirus causes. While the current swab test is used to identify people who are infected with the coronavirus, the agglutination assay can also determine if someone had been recently infected after the infection is resolved. Hundreds of samples can be tested every hour, the researchers said. Meanwhile, in Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says that non-essential travel between Canada and the U.S. remains restricted. He says this comes as the country continues to fight COVID-19. The current border measures will be extended by another 30 days or until August 21st to keep people in both of the countries safe. Elsewhere in Thailand, the government said today it would give foreigners a grace period until September to apply for visa extensions as the country eased restrictions amid the pandemic, a senior official said. According to Immigration Bureau Commissioner Sompong Ching Duong, the situation in the country and overseas has improved. He said they do not propose to extend visas after July 31, but allow for visa requests from August 1 to September 26, adding that the grace period will be proposed to the cabinet for approval, after which, if a request was not made and the visa expired, overstaying will be considered illegal. Let us now take a closer look at the updated count of coronavirus cases in countries worst hit by the pandemic. The United States of America remains as the top country most struggling from the disease, with over 3.5 million confirmed cases to date, but with more than 1 million recoveries. Brazil surges past 2 million, while India passes 1 million coronavirus cases. Russia's coronavirus death toll passes 12,000. Peru joins Brazil as the South American nation worst hit by the pandemic, while South Africa slowly crawled up this tally, now with over 324,000 cases, even surpassing the cases in European countries which used to report daily highs. Meanwhile, as it suffers from the sharp travel downturn, British Airways has said it will retire all of its Boeing 747s. Airlines across the world have been hit hard by coronavirus-related travel restrictions. Originally, the plan was to retire all 747s in 2024. Now that's being accelerated to over the coming months. It is with great sadness that we can confirm we are proposing to retire our entire 747 fleet with immediate effect, a BA spokesman told the BBC. The UK airline is the world's largest operator of the jumbo jets, with 31 in the fleet. A spokesman from British Airways said it is unlikely the Queen of the Sky.
Thank you, Marielle, and our UNTV News and Rescue team in Australia.
Meanwhile, days before the controversial anti-terrorism law takes effect on Sunday, July 19, at least 45 representatives of the U.S. Congress appeals to the Philippine government to repeal the law. In a virtual briefing, Representative Jen Schakowsky says she, along with her colleagues, sent a letter to the Philippine ambassador to the United States calling for the immediate repeal of the law. According to the lawmakers, it is a threat to the Philippine democracy and human rights and will be used against the critics of the administration.
This law is overbroad, and we believe it is already being used to stifle peaceful dissent and target civil society. And we fear it will also be used against anyone who protests against the government, because the president has shown he is intolerant of any and all dissent. The Anti-Terror Act of 2020 simply represents a new weapon in the administration's campaign to suppress dissent and will only worsen attacks on the ordinary people in the Philippines.
Despite the title, this legislation is not about terrorism. It's about silencing dissent.
Tells the American lawmakers not to intervene on the issue.
Pero wag na po kayo maghimasok. Hindi na po namin kayo colonial masters. Independenteng bansa na po kami. So, hayaan na po natin yan. Basta anyway, ang matter na anti-terror law, nasa Korte Suprema na po natin yan. Hayaan po nating desisyonan ng Korte Suprema.
Meanwhile, Senate President Vicente Soto III, who is one of the principal authors of the bill, believes the U.S. Solons were misinformed. According to Soto, the American lawmakers should look at their own anti-terrorism law, which is way stricter than the Philippines' version of the law.
Bago sila mamintas sa atin, tingnan muna yung kanila. Yung napakahigpit ng kanila. Napakasobra. Ang layo sa atin. Kaya I think these guys are just basing it on what they read on social media.
Senator Panfilo Lacson, who is also one of the authors and the sponsor of the bill, share the same sentiment. Lacson says the anti-terrorism law of the U.S. is much stronger and even cruel to some extent, and reiterating that the Philippines version has safeguards to ensure that the human rights of the suspected terrorists are protected. The senator adds, the lawmakers should shut up unless they admit of being a bunch of hypocrites. As of now, there are 9 petitions filed at the Supreme Court questioning the constitutionality of the controversial law. However, a lawyer says more petitions are on the way against the anti-terrorism law.
Meron pang iba na darating in the next week. So most probably yung mga actions namin bago magsona ay tungkol sa mga petition na yun para magkakaisa kaming lahat.
In other news, the world population will likely peak in 2064 at around 9.7 billion, researchers say. Jovic Bermas details why.
According to a new study published in The Lancet, researchers from the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, or IHME, at the University of Washington's School of Medicine estimate the world population will likely peak in 2064 at around 9.7 billion and then decline to about 8.8 billion by 2100. Researchers predicted that by the end of 21st century, 183 of 195 countries will have total fertility rates below replacement level of 2.1 births per woman, as generated by widespread improvements in access to modern contraception and the education of girls and women. The total fertility rates, or TFR, represents the average number of children a woman delivers over her lifetime. While the new population predictions contradict the projections of continuing global growth by the United Nations Population Division, it highlights the huge challenges to economic growth of a shrinking workforce, the high burden on social support systems of an aging population, and the impact on global power linked to shifts in world population. IHME Director and Research Lead Dr. Christopher Murray said continued global population growth through the century is no longer the most likely trajectory for the world's population. He adds the study provides government of all countries an opportunity to start rethinking their policies on migration, workforces, and economic development to address the challenges presented by demographic change. Dr. Richard Horton, editor-in-chief of The Lancet, noted that these new projections offer a vision for radical shifts in geopolitical power, challenges myths about immigration, and underlines the importance of protecting and strengthening the sexual and reproductive rights of women. By the end of the century, India, Nigeria, China, and the US are seen the world powers, while Europe and Asia will recede in their influence, Dr. Horton added. Jovic Bermas, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
An artist in New York donates his 1,800 flower paintings to New York hospital frontliners, and no paintbrush was used in those artistic pieces. Beverly Saison will tell us why.
A 32-year-old artist, Michael Gitz, wants COVID-19 frontliners feel that everybody loves them. So instead of a paintbrush, he used syringe in creating these masterpieces, and donated his 1,800 flower paintings to the Interfaith Medical Center employees in Brooklyn, New York. According to Lorraine Brown, president of the hospital, Michael did an incredible job creating works of art, which is in itself show how appreciative he is of the healthcare workers' efforts over the last 3 to 4 months. Michael's other works had been displayed in museums in Paris and London. But for him, these flower paintings for the medical frontliners are more meaningful. Beverly Saison, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news, July 17, 2020. I am Jorlene Delgado. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III, because we need to know. We will always ask why. Have a great weekend, everyone.